Hello, everyone. I want to start with a question that I think is on everybody's mind, probably every single day. How can I be happy? We look for happiness in so many places, in our careers, our relationships, our hobbies, our achievements. But what if the map to a deep, lasting happiness was laid out for us 2,000 years ago? That's exactly what we're here to explore. The Beatitudes from Jesus' famous Sermon on the Mount are that map. And as we'll see, based on the incredible teachings of Dr. Brant Petrie, this isn't just a list of pious suggestions. This is Jesus' direct answer to the most fundamental desire of the human heart. So let's get ready to unfold this map to true happiness together. Let us first read Matthew 5, verses 1 to 12a, the subject of our study today. Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 through 12a, the Sermon on the Mount. When he saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he had sat down, his disciples came to him. He began to teach them, saying, The Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the land. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the clean of heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are they who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they insult you and persecute you, and utter every kind of evil against you falsely, because of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward will be great in heaven. The new Moses, giving a new law. To really get what Jesus is doing here, we have to put on our first-century Jewish glasses. For anyone listening to Jesus that day, the setting was the message. When they saw him go up on a mountain to teach, their minds would have immediately gone to one person, Moses. Just as Moses went up Mount Sinai to receive the old law, Jesus ascends a mountain in Galilee to deliver the new law. But there's a crucial difference, as Dr. Petrie points out. Moses goes up, receives the law, and brings it down to the people, a law for an earthly kingdom. But Jesus doesn't bring the law down. He invites his disciples up. He's calling them to a higher way of life, a higher law, oriented not toward an earthly kingdom, but toward the kingdom of heaven. This isn't just a new set of rules, it's an invitation into a whole new reality. Not just blessed, happy. Now this is where it gets really exciting. Most of us have heard the Beatitudes start with the word blessed. Blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are the meek, and so on. And that's a fine translation, but it kind of misses the punch. As Dr. Petrie so brilliantly explains, the original Greek word makarios doesn't just mean blessed in a formal religious sense. It means happy. The Latin beatus means the same thing. This changes everything. Jesus isn't just listing a set of pious attitudes that will earn you a reward someday. He's kicking off his most famous sermon by saying, "You want to be happy? Here's how." He's giving a direct, practical guide to joy. The Beatitudes are a description of how to be happy. So let's look at the very first step on this map. Happy are the poor in spirit. Happy are those who mourn. So what's the first step on Jesus' map to happiness? Happy are the poor in spirit. This sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? How can being poor lead to happiness? But Jesus isn't talking about material poverty. The Greek word used here, patokos, describes a beggar who is absolutely dependent, someone with nothing in the bank. Spiritually, that's us. To be poor in spirit is to recognize our complete and utter reliance on God for everything. It's the opposite of pride. It's humility. And the promise for that is immense. For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Next, Jesus says, "Happy are those who mourn." Again, how can sadness be happiness? Dr. Pitre clarifies that this isn't just any sadness. It's a specific lamentation for sin and death, for our own failings, and for the brokenness of the world. When we mourn what's wrong with the world, we open ourselves up to God's healing, and that's why the promise is so beautiful. For they shall be comforted. Happy are the meek. Happy are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. The next step on our map is a challenging one. Happy are the meek. Meekness often gets a bad rap. We tend to confuse it with weakness. But as Dr. Petrie explains, the Greek word praus means something entirely different. It's about having the strength to refuse retaliation. It's the power to absorb an insult, to turn the other cheek, and to conquer evil with good. It's the quiet strength of a person who is in control of their own spirit. And the promise for this gentle strength? They shall inherit the earth. We'll come back to what that amazing promise means in a bit. Then Jesus gives us this incredibly intense image. Happy are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. This isn't a mild appetite. This is a deep, desperate craving, a literal starvation for dikaiosine, which means two things: personal holiness, being right with God, and social justice, doing right by others. When we desire goodness and justice with that level of intensity, Jesus promises we shall be satisfied. Happy are the merciful. Happy are the pure in heart. Moving on, Jesus tells us, happy are the merciful. Mercy is more than just feeling sorry for someone. It's specific. It's about forgiving faults and sins, even and especially when the other person doesn't deserve it. It's canceling a debt that is owed. It's a radical act of love, and it's at the heart of the gospel. The promise is a perfect reflection of the act itself, for they shall obtain mercy. What we give, we receive. Next, happy are the pure in heart. The Greek word here is katharos, which means clean or undefiled, like this perfectly clear glass of water. This isn't about being perfect, but about having integrity. It's about refusing to compromise with evil and keeping our hearts, our inner intentions and desires, free from the defilements of the world. And the reward for that interior purity is the highest goal of human existence, for they shall see God. Happy are the peacemakers. Happy are those who are persecuted. The next two steps on our map to happiness are incredibly powerful. First, happy are the peacemakers. This isn't just about being a peaceful person who avoids conflict. Drawing on the rich Hebrew concept of shalom, a peacemaker is someone who actively seeks reconciliation. They mend broken relationships, they build bridges, and they bring people together. In doing so, Dr. Pitre says, they image God Himself, who is the ultimate source of all peace. And so the promise is that they shall be called sons of God. And finally, the most challenging beatitude of all, happy are those who are persecuted. How in the world can you be happy when you're being slandered, falsely accused, or attacked for doing the right thing? Jesus says this is the mark of a true prophet. When you suffer for the sake of righteousness, you are walking in the footsteps of all the great prophets who came before you. It's a sign that you're on the right track. And the promise is the same as the very first beatitude, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The eschatological key, the now versus the not yet. Okay, Let's be honest. It's hard to feel happy when you're mourning or being persecuted. So how does this all work? This is what Dr. Brant Petrie calls the eschatological key, and it unlocks everything. The promises of the Beatitudes are primarily eschatological. That's a big word, but it simply means they point forward to the end of time, to the resurrection of the dead, and the life of the world to come. As the quote on the slide says, Jesus isn't just talking about a little consolation in this life. He's talking about the ultimate comfort of the resurrection. The hard truth is, in this life, you will mourn. You may be persecuted. But the happiness Jesus promises is the ultimate reversal of all that suffering in the kingdom of God. It's a happiness that is unshakable and eternal. Inheriting the earth. So what about that promise to the meek, that they will inherit the earth? Is Jesus promising us all a nice plot of land in Judea? Not exactly. He's promising something infinitely bigger and better. As Dr. Petrie explains, when Jesus talks about inheriting the earth, he's using standard Jewish imagery for the new creation. He's tapping into the prophecy of Isaiah, who spoke of a future time when God would create a new heavens and a new earth. This isn't just a patch of real estate, it's the entire renewed cosmos, restored to its original goodness and beauty after the resurrection. The promise isn't about owning a piece of the world as it is now, but about inheriting the whole world as it is meant to be. It's a promise of ultimate restoration and belonging. The beatific vision. And this brings us to the absolute summit of the mountain, the pinnacle of all human happiness, the promise to the pure in heart that they shall see God. Let's be clear about what this means. This isn't just about seeing God's handiwork in a beautiful sunset or seeing His image in other people, as wonderful as those things are. This is the beatific vision. It is the promise of seeing the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, face to face in the life of the world to come. This is why purity of heart is so important. It's a preparation. It's about cleansing the lens of our soul so that we are prepared to look upon the one who is all holy, in whom there is no darkness at all. This is the ultimate end goal of the entire map of the Beatitudes. This is our destiny. This is eternal happiness. The heart of Jesus' preaching. So when we put it all together, we see this beautiful structure like a ladder to heaven. The Beatitudes are not a random collection of sayings, they are a carefully constructed path. Notice how the whole list is framed by the same promise. It begins with the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, and it ends with the persecuted, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. This literary device, called an inclusio, tells us that the kingdom is the beginning and the end of this journey. Everything in between, mourning, meekness, mercy, is a description of the life that leads to that kingdom. As Dr. Petrie puts it, the Beatitudes are the very center of the gospel. They are the heart of Jesus' teaching, giving life to everything else he says, just as a heart gives life to the body. This is the path to life and the path to happiness. Reflection question 1. Now, I want to leave you with a few questions to reflect on personally. You can think about them now, discuss them with a friend later, or journal about them this week. First, how does redefining blessed as happy change your reading of the Beatitudes? Does it make them feel more urgent, more practical, more personal? Model answer. If the Beatitudes are just blessings, they sound like rewards. If they mean like makarios, they become happy, which is a direct answer to the human desire for fulfillment, found in spiritual poverty and mercy rather than wealth. Reflection questions 2. Why does it matter that Jesus delivered this sermon on a mountain? How does seeing him as the new Moses change your understanding of his authority and his invitation to you? Model answer. The mountain setting identifies Jesus as the new Moses. Moses brought the old law down from Mount Sinai for us to our earthly kingdom. Jesus invites up to receive the Beatitudes down from heaven to our earthly kingdom of heaven to prepare us for the new heaven and new earth at the resurrection. Reflection questions 3. If the promises of the Beatitudes are eschatological, if they point to our ultimate future in the resurrection, what does that imply about how we should view suffering in our current life? Does it give our struggles a new meaning or purpose? Model answer. It implies that suffering is to be expected in this life. The Beatitudes are not a promise of comfort now, but a guarantee that current suffering will be undone and rewarded in the resurrection. Rejoice and be glad. In the end, the map of the Beatitudes leads us here, to a place of profound hope and joy. It's a difficult path, no doubt. It calls us to be humble, to mourn, to be gentle, to seek justice, to be merciful, pure and peaceful, and even to accept persecution. But the destination is worth the journey. The destination is the kingdom of heaven. It's the renewed cosmos. It's seeing God face to face. It is true, unshakable, and everlasting happiness. And so, Jesus concludes his teaching with this incredible encouragement, a command that flows from all these promises. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. Thank you for your viewing. May God bless you always.